Hello, I'm Bill Bailey, and this is my guide to the mysterious site of Stonehenge. "5,000 years ago, this would have just been an unremarkable field in the middle of nowhere. And then early settlers decided that this would be the perfect place for this unique construction. But what most people don't realize is that the Stonehenge we see now didn't always look like this. It's been through a number of transformations, as site archaeologist Dave Batchelor explained to me.
The first phase is the simple circular bank and ditch, just over 100 metres in diameter, two entrances, the big one in the northeast and one in the south. And then following on shortly after that, there was a timber phase, but the later stones have removed most of the evidence of that, so it's impossible to say what type of structures were at the centre of it. And then, we're now about 300, 400 years into its life, the stones start to arrive.
But in its prime, there would have been more than 160 stones, carefully laid out as a circle with a horseshoe in the centre. This is a monumental achievement in Stone Age construction, but even more amazing is the effort that went into getting these huge stones here in the first place. Not a single one can be found locally. The Sarsens, they would have been dragged just across the land.
They would have been dragged from the Marlborough Downs, 20 odd miles away to the north of here.
So how would they have actually managed to get them here then?
We don't know is the answer. I mean, various experiments have been done over the years, and it shows that the easiest way, the least manpower, is by doing preparation, laying some sort of track and then running a sled on it. Because of course we're talking of a period before the wheel.
And the blue stones, they came from Wales, is that right?
They came from South West Wales, from Preseli Mountains in South West Wales, yes. Brought along, presumably along the coast and then across the Severn, and then either by land across from the Avon or round Land's End and up the Hampshire and Wiltshire Avons.
So this is basically the product of a long period of time.
Basically, yes, it was looked after for generation after generation.
And so it must have been a significant sort of feature of the community then, really.
Absolutely. I mean, it belongs to the community. It's been a community effort. And the periods between the building phases, it was being curated, it was being looked after. So it wasn't just, well, we'll build it, then we'll let it go to rack and ruin, and then we'll resurrect it again. It was certainly being used. And it was a key point in the community. We know it's on a solstitial alignment, so that was presumably important, the changing of the seasons, being able to mark changes in the year. But I'm sure that personally, I'm going to conjecture here, but it wasn't only used at midsummer and midwinter solstices. It was too important for that. I mean, one of the main things is the amount of stuff contemporary with it in the landscape roundabout. You've got all the barrow mounds and the burials. It's the greatest concentration of those in northwestern Europe. There's over 450 close by here. We know from studies of burials that people are coming to here from distances away. They're not necessarily indigenous, but they're being buried here.
How do we know how old these stones are? They're not living things. Luckily, Stonehenge wasn't built by hand. They use these antler picks, which are living things, and you can carbon date them. And incredibly, archaeologists reckon that work began on Stonehenge 5,000 years ago. And just 2 miles from Stonehenge, archaeologists think they may have found evidence of the people who actually built Stonehenge all those years ago. Here, at Durrington Walls, they've unearthed a massive settlement, at least 9 houses with wooden walls, clay floors, and stone hearths for fires.
I think the key point about the discoveries that we've made is that we have found this enormous village. It's bigger than any other village in Britain at this time, probably in the whole of Northern Europe. And I think it really has to be the work camp from which they built Stonehenge. It's really changed our interpretation of Stonehenge, I think, because it's shown that there was a living dimension to those rather mute stones.
So Stonehenge was a hive of activity. Work camps like this one being excavated were set up specifically to improve and develop Stonehenge. To find out more, I went to Salisbury Museum. They got loads of good stuff there, stuff that you normally don't get to see, and amazingly I've been let loose in their storeroom.
I'm stuck.
Now, all these boxes contain artefacts that have been found around Stonehenge. I've come prepared, and I'd be terrible. I feel terrible if I damaged it. So here we go. Now this you see. What's this? Donington walls. Oh. This is an antler pick, I'm assuming. It's a serious bit of kit. See, the other theory is, though, well, my own theory is that perhaps they trained the deer to scoop out the earth with their own heads, thus saving hours of backbreaking work. And then when the deer eventually pegged it, they just thought they took the antlers. I don't know. There's all kinds of fanciful theories that abound about how Stonehenge came to be here and how the stones are standing in this way. Aliens perhaps dropped them here, used them as a beacon, a landing platform, a pod. The Arthurian legend is that giants brought them from Africa to Ireland as healing stones, and Merlin carried them across the Irish Sea using some special wizardy telekinetic skill. My own theory, though, is that I reckon it was all one massive stone at one stage, and it's just been chiselled out by ants. Every year, archaeologists are finding more evidence that helps us understand Stonehenge, so gradually we'll find more answers to this enduring mystery. But I've got a feeling that Stonehenge will always keep some of its secrets.